welcome back. Today we're going to work on another beautiful baby blanket. This one's one of my favorites because it has a nice hood here that's right attached to the blanket that you can put right over the baby's head. And I think it's a really nice pattern. It's easy and quick. You just have to learn 1 or 2 different rows, and then you can repeat those rows to get those done. So let's go ahead and get started. For this blanket, you are going to want a medium weight 4 yarn. I'm actually using the Caron 1 pound in cream. This is 100% acrylic, and you don't have to use this kind. You can use whatever yarn or color that you want. Just look for the medium weight 4 on the package to make sure you've got about the right size for this. You'll need about 1,000 yards for this blanket, so I actually have 2 of these. I'll have some left over, but that's okay. Time for another project. You'll also need a 6mm hook or a J. You will need a pair of scissors, obviously, and a tapestry needle. So just quick comments about the project. This is actually done in 2 pieces. We'll make the blanket first, and then we'll make the hood separately, and then we'll join the blanket to the hood, and then we'll have a nice border around the whole thing. So I think you'll really like it. For starters, we're going to need a chain of 108, which I cheated and I already did. So go ahead and do your chain of 108, and if you need to pause, go ahead and do that and then come back. And now we're going to start the first row. This blanket is made with a bunch of scallop patterns. So the scallop patterns will start right away with row 1. So to do that, we're going to start with 2 double crochets in the 3rd chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, this chain right here, you're going to do 2 double crochets. So there's 1, and then back in the same stitch, you're going to want to do number 2. And that's actually going to be considered your first scallop. Then you're going to skip 2 chains. So we did those in here, you're going to skip 1, 2, and then in the next chain after that, you're going to do a single crochet and 2 double crochets all in that same stitch. So let's first do our single crochet, and then we'll do 2 double crochets right in that same stitch. Okay, and let's do this again because you're going to do that pattern all the way across. So here's where we did that. You're going to want to skip 1, 2, and into the next one, do a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Right into that same space, do another double crochet. Okay. And you're going to want to do this pattern, like I said, all the way across. So you can see those are kind of like little shells or scallops. Let's do that again. Now, make sure when you're doing this, you see clearly which stitch you did all those stitches in, and don't think it's this one. This is one of the ones you're going to skip. So that's in here, so skip 1, 2, and now we're going to go into the next one. Start with your single crochet and 2 double crochets. Okay, skip 2, single crochet, 2 double crochets. And you're going to want to do this all the way to the end. You'll do this all the way across until you get to the last 3 stitches. You're going to skip 2 stitches and then just do a single crochet in the end, but we'll come back here at the end. So when you get all the way done and all the way across, we'll go ahead and do that last couple of stitches in the end of this row just to make sure we're on the same page, and then we'll go on with row 2. When you finish going across row 1, you should have 35 of these little shell stitches all the way across. They're really cute. And then you should have 3 chains at the end here. So like normal in the pattern, you're going to skip 2 chains and then go ahead and do a single crochet in that last chain, and that finishes out row 1. Okay, now let's go on to row 2. You're going to want to chain 2 and turn. Now the first thing that you want to do is to do 2 double crochets in the very first single crochet, and that first single crochet is the one that you had just done at the end of row 1. So go ahead and do 2 double crochets right in that first single crochet. Yep. And then you're going to skip these next 2 double crochets, and then when you come to this single crochet, you're going to do the same pattern from row 1. So that's 1 single crochet and 2 double crochet all in that same stitch. Okay. And then repeat. So skip those 2 double crochet from the previous row, go to your single crochet and put in 1 single crochet and 2 double crochet in that same stitch. Whoops. I went through too many loops. There we go. There's 1 double crochet and there's the second double crochet. Skip those 2 double crochet, go to the next single crochet and do 1 single crochet and then 2 double crochets in that same stitch. Okay. And you'll see those little shells are alternating direction from the first row. Go ahead and do that all the way across in every single crochet across this row 2, and then I'll meet you at the end. So we've gone ahead with that pattern all the way across for row 2. I think it looks really cute. And where you should be at the end of the row 2 is you should have the 2 double crochets left and then your turning chain. So we're going to skip those 2 double crochets and we're just going to do a single crochet in the turning chain at the end of the row, and that will end out row 2. And then to continue, we'll chain 2 and turn. And now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat row 2 several times until your blanket measures about 29 or 30 inches from the beginning all the way down. So you're looking for about 30 inches or so. And you'll just have to do that one row, row 2, over and over again until the end. So we'll just do a couple here to begin with as a reminder. You're going to do 2 double crochet in that very first single crochet that you made in that turning chain. We're going to skip these 2 double crochet right here, skip those, and into that single crochet you're going to do 1 single crochet, need some yarn, sorry, and 2 double crochets. Okay, skip the 2 double crochets in that next single crochet, do 1 single crochet and 2 double crochet. And that's your pattern. Keep doing that on every row until you get, like I said, to about 29 or 30 inches for your blanket part. And then we'll meet back here and talk about what to do to finish that off and then start the hood. Now I've finished the repeat of row 2. I ended up doing that repeat I think 67 times, 68 times, and I have a total of 70 rows here, and you can really see the nice pattern that it creates, and it's a really nice texture for this. So when I was done with the repeats, I went ahead and fastened off this end and cut my yarn, and as I mentioned, the hood pattern is going to be a separate piece. So we're going to go ahead and move that aside and get our yarn to start the hood pattern. What we're going for here in this hood pattern is a triangle. We're actually going to make that triangle and then attach that to the corner of the blanket. So that's kind of why we're going for that triangle look here. And I'll talk more about how to attach that when we get closer to that point. So start off the hood with a chain 4. And then what you'll want to do is put 2 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is your first chain that's there. So go ahead and put in 2 double crochets. And you can already see after you do that, that triangle shape starting to take effect here. So you can see we actually have the equivalent of 3 double crochets all in that one stitch there. For this part of the pattern, every time you do a chain 3, that will count as a double crochet. So that is row 1. For row 2, you want to chain 3, which is your first double crochet. And in that first stitch where you have that chain 3, you want to add 2 more double crochets. In the next double crochet, you want to put 1 double crochet. So right there, just do 1. And then in the top of the next stitch, you want to do 3 double crochets, just like you did at the beginning. And we further have that triangle starting there. Okay. Now for row 3, start with your chain 3 and do 1 double crochet in that same stitch. You want to double crochet across until you get to that last stitch. So we'll go ahead here. And then just that chain 3 is left, and you'll want to do 2 double crochets in the top of that chain 3. Okay, so at this point you should have 9 double crochets. Remember, including the chain 3 at the beginning, that counts as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's row 3. For row 4, go ahead and chain 3. In the same stitch, do a double crochet. So there's 2 there. In the next stitch, do 2 double crochet. There's 2 there. And then do single double crochets all the way until 2 stitches from the end. So you'll want 2 stitches left. And these are all just single double crochets all the way across. Now if you look, we have this double crochet left and that chain 3, which counts as a double crochet left. You're going to put 2 double crochet in each of those, just like you started out the row. So 2 double crochets here. Oops. One, 2, and 2 double crochets in the top of this chain 3 right here. And that's row 4. In essence, what you're doing is making an increase every row. For row 3, we made an increase of 2, 1 at each end. For row 4, we made an increase of 4, 2 at each end. So what we want to do from here is just repeat rows 3 and 4. So chain 3, row 3, remember, has an extra stitch right in that first one, and then you're going to do single double crochets all the way across. Okay, all the way until you get to that last stitch. Which in this case, the last stitch is a chain 3, right? That counts as a double crochet. So in that top of that chain 3, you're going to do 2 double crochets. That's a repeat of row 3. For row 4 repeat, you do a chain 3 and turn, which counts as your first double crochet. Do another double crochet right there in that very first stitch, so you have 2 double crochets there. 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And then, like we did before, double crochets all the way across until you get to these last 2 stitches. You're going to do 2 double crochets here, 2 double crochets here. So every time you do a new row, you're doing an increase. Repeat rows 3 and 4. Row 3 has an extra stitch at the beginning and the end. Row 4 has an extra stitch in the first 2 and the last 2 stitches. You'll go ahead and repeat rows 3 and 4 until you end up with 49 double crochets all the way across, and that should be for you row 16. So go ahead and follow this pattern, repeating rows 3 and 4 all the way until you can count 49 double crochets across, and then we'll come back and talk about next steps. I have the triangle completed now, and you'll see I've got 16 rows, and this last row here ends with 49 double crochets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put an edging along this last row here, an edging that will actually match the pattern in the main blanket. So let's go ahead and put that last row on here. We're going to chain 2 and turn, similar to what we did in the main blanket. Get that out of the way. And now in this first stitch here, we'll do 2 double crochets. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches, and in that next stitch you're going to do a single crochet and 2 double crochets. So there's the single, a double, and another double, just like we did in the main blanket. So then skip 2 stitches, and in that next one do a single and 2 doubles, all in that same stitch. You can see that kind of shell scallop pattern emerge again. So skip 2, do a single and 2 doubles. Okay, there's that pattern from the blanket. Go ahead and do that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end. You should have just a couple of stitches left, and I'll show you what to do in that final stitch. I have completed putting that pattern all the way across that row. You can see it matches what's in the blanket. And I have 16 of these scallop patterns here. And then I have 3 stitches left. Remember that chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So I've got these 3 stitches left. I'm going to skip 2 like we normally do in the pattern. And I'm just going to do a single crochet in the top of that chain 3 there. Okay? And that will complete this off, and you're going to want to fasten off. I'm going to cut it first, leave a little bit I can weave in, and then I'll just do 1 chain here at the end to fasten off and pull that tight. All right, so there is your hood. Okay, nice edging on that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a border to the blanket while attaching this to the blanket. So I have the blanket, the hood, and then I'm also going to use some markers here that I can help hold the blanket hold the hood onto the blanket as I go to make sure that I get that on properly while I'm putting that border on. So you're going to want to find one of the corners of your blanket. So here's a corner of the blanket. And remember, when it comes to this triangle, this is the part you want out. You're not going to attach that part. So if you line up the hood into the corner of that blanket, see that, like that, and then use your markers to go ahead and join those 2 together in a few spots to make sure it stays. Then that will help us as we go around and put the border on. That will be joined together at the same time. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to go ahead and join these together where I want them and put my markers on, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm ready to proceed. So as you can see here, I chose a corner and I just put the hood lined up into that corner, and I just put a couple of markers here to gently hold that together into the right place. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put a border around the whole thing, and it will join this to the blanket as we put the border around. Now you'll need to join yarn into the corner to start this pattern, but I'm going to avoid this corner for right now. We got a lot going on right there. So I'm going to go over here to the corner on the right, and I'm going to go ahead and join my yarn into that corner. Got to find my hook and my yarn. Here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and join my yarn into the top of this first stitch here, which happens to be a little chain 3 right there. So I'll go ahead and join this. Okay, and just pull that on through. Oops, I want a little bit more in the back than that, so I have enough to weave in. Okay, so I put my yarn through there to join it in that very corner stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and chain 2. And this is that same pattern that we've been doing throughout this whole main blanket part. Okay, so we want to go ahead and chain 2 and do 2 double crochets into that very same stitch right there, just like we normally do. Doesn't want to go through. Hold on one second. There we go. Oh, got caught. All right, let's do that again. I'm trying to grab that end too to make sure it's kind of in there. There's 1. There we go. And that's 2. All right, so we have the chain 2 and the 2 double crochets, very similar to the pattern. You're going to skip 2 And then in that next one, which is the single crochet, if you recall the pattern, you're going to do a single crochet and then 2 double crochets. So this is that same pattern from the blanket. Okay, skip 2 in the single crochet. You want to do a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Go to that next single crochet and put in a single crochet and 2 double crochets. And you'll want to do this all the way, we're actually going to do it all the way around. A couple things I want to talk about are the corners, and then when you get to the part where the hood is attached, how to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and complete this row until you get over to where the hood is attached, and meet me back here and we'll talk about doing it. Now I've finished that pattern all the way across this part here, and I've come to where I have the hood that I want to attach to the blanket. I took my marker out of the way just so I can kind of work through this a little bit. And the next stitch you want to work into, of course, is that single crochet right there. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to go through both. So I want to go through the corner of the hood and also into that single crochet right there. And now we're working through both. So we have the single crochet and the 2 double crochet still right through both parts. Okay, so there's still your stitch. It's just now going through both sides. Now you want to find your next way to do that, or next place to do that. So there's the next single crochet in the back. So you want to find a spot here that fits nicely with that. So I will go into this stitch right here and into the single crochet. So I'm going through both again, single crochet and 2 double crochets. Okay, and we're going to keep going like this. Here's the next place is that single crochet, and for that one I'm going to go here and into the, we have the single, yeah, into the single crochet. I'm going to do both there. Keep going this way, going through both the hood and the blanket until you get to the corner over here, and then we'll talk about what to do when you get into the corner. So I completed joining that, continuing the pattern, going through both the hood and the blanket here, and you can see I've continued to do that. Now I'm to the corner, and you want to make sure that when you get to the corner you are in a position where you can put the pattern, the single crochet and 2 double crochets, right in that corner stitch. So you can see that turned out nicely here. We can go ahead and right in that corner stitch through both, right, the hood. You can see I've gone through both the hood and the blanket, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Got to get those tail pieces out of the way. There's the single crochet, and then we're going to go back in and do 2 double crochets, all in that corner stitch. Oops. Okay, so there it is in the corner stitch, and that kind of sticks out a little bit. That allows us to actually turn. And now we're going to go down. I gotta get this other out of the way so you can see better here. Now we're on the left side of the blanket. We're going to continue to go through both the hood and the blanket. And this is a little bit different going down the side because there's not a clear single crochet that we want to go into on the side because you're at the side of the work. So what you need to do is kind of figure out, I'm going to open this up a little bit so you can see, kind of figure out where the best placement is as you go along. So if we, let me do this way. if we move that aside, you can kind of see that there are little stitches here along the edge, or bumps. They're not as clear as the pattern that we've been following. So you can do this exactly the same way. So we can say that will be a skip, and here's where we'll do the little scallop. And then you can say skip, skip, and here's where we'll do the scallop. So you can kind of plot out where you're gonna put all those and what little stitches here. Like I said, it's just not as clear, but it can be done. You just need to kind of figure that out where you want to put them. So like I said, let's kind of take this as a, wait, I want to get it in the camera there. Okay, a skip and a skip, and we're going to put that first one right here in that little space. So I have to go through both and make sure I'm still lined up because I took that marker out. All right, looks good. Got to get these out of the way. I'm going to go right into here. So I'm going to go through this space in the hood, through this space right here in the hood, and into that space in the back. All right, so I'm still going through both. And I've got a single and a double and a double, and I'm sorry, I think I keep getting that out of the view of the camera. All right, so you can see that one kind of rolls over the corner, and now we have our next one here. And then we'll keep going. Running out of room. All right, so my next spot, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna do skip, skip, and I'm gonna go into this hole here. That's what I'm going to aim for. So on the top, I'm going to go through what's lined up here is a little spot there, and then into that hole in the back. And here will be my single, and I'll do one double and a second double. Okay. So I'm still continuing that pattern. I'm just trying to find the best place to do that along the side. Sorry, I'm moving the camera. I'm trying to get all the bulk of the blanket out of the way so I can get this close for you. All right, here we are again. Skip, skip. I'm gonna do one right in this space there. I think that looks, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So I'll go through this section here that lines up with that hole, through the hole. And I will do a single and a double and a double. Okay, so you're going to want to continue this all along the side, and you're going to want to go all the way down the end. Now remember, you're going to do it along here where there's two. Even though you don't have the hood anymore, just keep going with that pattern down until you get to the corner. And I'll meet you again in that corner just so we can talk about the corner one more time. And so continue along that path, and I'll see you in the corner. Okay, so we finished going along. You can see here is where the end of the hood adjoined there, and kept going. And you'll notice as you go along here that there's really well identified spots for you to put the shell stitches, the scallop stitches as you go along. I hope you found that as you went along. And here we are in the corner. This is the corner stitch here, and I'm going to go ahead and put one of these right in that very corner stitch. Single and two doubles. Okay, and then you'll turn and you'll continue all the way down that next side. Let me get this out of the way so you can see. Now, what you'll notice here is that this was our foundation row. So it looks a little bit different than the top row, but you'll still be able to see where you can put those stitches, and you can put them in, I don't know if I want to call it the bottom, but everywhere where there's that single crochet that you did that stitch in on the other side, upright side, you can put those there. See, there's another one. So go along here and put in those shell scallop patterns all the way across the bottom foundation row, wherever you see that it's joined by a single crochet there. Let's do a couple just so it'll make sense. If I can get this. All right. So there's the stitch we just did in the corner. And if we come around this way, it's almost like we're gonna say skip, skip, and then there. And if you can see, if you turned it up right side up, that's where that single crochet is that you did the single double double in along the foundation row. We're upside down to that now, and I'm gonna stick that right inside of there. So we're gonna do a single crochet there and 2 double crochets there. Okay, and then we'll go along to the next place where we have that, and we will do a single crochet. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see a little bit there, and 2 double crochets. So go ahead and keep doing that all the way across as you find these stitches to put this into. And when you get to the corner, put one right in the dead center of the corner and continue all the way around until you reach back where we started. So you're going to go along the bottom and you're going to go up the right side, and you should be at the corner where we started. And we'll meet back there and finish this off. Okay, at this point I finished going all across the bottom, and then I went ahead and went up the right side of the blanket. You can see that. And then that takes us all the way back over to the corner where we started. If you remember, here's where we joined the yarn into the corner to start our edging right there. And this is the last scallop that I made. And now we're just going to join these two to complete the edging all the way around. I'm actually just going to go into the top of that chain where we started, where we joined that. I think that was a chain 2. Going into the top of that, and I'm going to do a slip stitch through there and then pull it right through. All right, and there you have a nice pretty little corner. And that will be the end. So I'm going to fasten off, get my scissors, give me a pretty good sized tail here. And you don't have to, but I always prefer to just do one chain to fasten off to kind of lock that in. Now, one suggestion that you can do if you want to, this is where we joined that yarn to start the edging. If you want to weave that up closer to this or this one closer to that and tie it first before you weave it in, that can give you some security. I am going to do that. I'm just going to weave that in closer. Actually, I'll just show you. I'm going to take where we just ended, move that so you can see better. I'm going to take this where we just ended, running out of room here right in front of this small camera. All right, let me get that through there. Okay, because at this point, weaving in all the ends is all we have left to do, right? So this is where we just ended. I'm going to bring that closer to this here. So I'll just go through a couple of stitches here And there. Now see, I'm bringing that up right by where that stitch is. Come on. It's a little tight. That's actually not a bad thing. You want it to not slip out. Okay, and now I'm here where that end is, where we joined. I'm actually going to tie it. I know some people don't agree with doing that, but it gives me a little bit more security, and it does hide under that yarn a little bit right there. So I just did a double knot. Now I'm still going to weave these in, so I'll still take that and weave that in through here, and we'll have the 2 in the corner that we need to weave in as well. Again, if you want to tie these, I will probably do that as well. Do a little double knot there before I weave it in. And that, my friends, is the end. I'm gonna try to back up a little bit so you can get a good feel of what this looks like. Here's the hood of this one, and then this beautiful blanket. And it really was super easy, simple, quick to put together. I hope you give it a try, and I hope you enjoy it. If you like this video, please take a minute to like it and subscribe. It would really help my channel out. And thank you for watching.